You think your lack of progress is a discipline problem. You think the reason you're stuck is because you're lazy, distracted, inconsistent. But what if the real reason is something far more dangerous? What if the place you live, the people around you, the systems you interact with every day are quietly designed to keep you exactly where you are? Because most people never realize this truth. Your environment is not neutral. It is shaping you every day, every hour, every decision you make. And if you don't take control of it, it will take control of you. Look around your life for a moment. Your phone, your workspace, your habits, your conversations. None of these are random. They are signals, signals that tell your brain what kind of person you are supposed to be. And your brain obeys. Because human behavior isn't driven by motivation, it's driven by environment. This is why someone can feel unstoppable in one place and completely powerless in another. Same person, different environment. Think about that. A student in a quiet library studies for 6 hours without noticing the time. That same student sits at home with a phone next to them. And suddenly 10 minutes of work feels impossible, not because they changed, because the environment changed. Your brain is constantly scanning for cues. What is normal here? What do people around me do? What behavior fits this space? And then it adapts faster than you realize. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your environment. This is why some people seem to move through life with unstoppable momentum, and others feel stuck year after year. It's not always talent. It's not always intelligence. It's the invisible architecture of their environment, the people they talk to, the expectations around them, the standards they see every day. Because standards are contagious. Spend time around people who complain about everything, and complaining becomes normal. Spend time around people obsessed with improvement, and suddenly mediocrity feels uncomfortable. Your brain calibrates itself to the room. This is why elite athletes train around elite athletes. This is why high-performing companies cluster together. This is why powerful circles guard their networks carefully. Because proximity creates identity, and identity shapes behavior. But most people never question their environment. They inherit it, their routines, their digital feeds, their friend groups, their daily distractions, all inherited, all unquestioned. And slowly, those environments begin to define them. A room full of low standards creates a low standard mind. A culture of comfort creates a comfort-seeking identity. And comfort feels good. At first, scrolling feels harmless, late nights feel relaxing, constant entertainment feels normal. But comfort has a hidden cost. Because comfort slowly rewires your tolerance for effort. Hard things start to feel harder. Focus becomes rare. Discipline begins to feel unnatural. And then one day you wonder, why can't I concentrate anymore? Why do I feel tired all the time? Why does everyone else seem to be moving ahead? But the answer was never hidden. It was surrounding you. Your environment was training you quietly, relentlessly, day after day. This is the same reason someone can move to a new city and suddenly reinvent themselves. New surroundings, new expectations, new identity, because identity is not fixed. It is adaptive. Your brain asks one question constantly. What kind of person lives here? And then it becomes that person. If you live in chaos, you normalize chaos. If you live in distraction, you normalize distraction. If you live in discipline, discipline becomes natural. This is why changing your environment is often more powerful than changing your mindset. Mindset fights against friction. Environment removes it. When the right behaviors are easier, you do them. When the wrong behaviors are easier, you drift toward them. And the modern world understands this extremely well. Technology companies design environments that capture your attention. Endless scroll notifications, algorithms predicting your impulses. They aren't just competing for your time, they're shaping your behavior. Every swipe teaches your brain to crave faster stimulation. Every notification trains you to seek interruption. And slowly, your ability to sit with deep focus erodes. Not overnight, but gradually. So gradually you barely notice. Until suddenly silence feels uncomfortable. Deep work feels exhausting. And boredom feels unbearable. But boredom used to be where creativity lived, where thinking happened, where ideas formed. Now boredom rarely survives long enough to exist because the environment removes it instantly. And when boredom disappears, so does reflection. And when reflection disappears, so does growth. But here's the part most people ignore. Your environment is not just physical, it's digital, it's social, it's informational. The content you consume, the conversations you participate in, the standards you see online, all of it builds your psychological landscape. Your brain adapts to what it repeatedly experiences. So if your daily inputs are shallow, your thinking becomes shallow. If your digital world is full of outrage, your mind becomes reactive. If your surroundings reward distraction, focus becomes rare. This is why some people feel like they're constantly fighting themselves. They are trying to build discipline inside environments designed for weakness, trying to focus inside systems engineered for distraction, trying to grow inside circles comfortable with stagnation. That battle is exhausting because willpower alone is fragile, environment is powerful. And the people who understand this gain an unfair advantage. They build environments that make the right behaviors inevitable. They remove friction. They eliminate temptations. They surround themselves with higher standards. They treat environment like infrastructure. Because once the infrastructure is right, momentum becomes natural. The average person asks, how do I stay motivated? The elite ask, how do I design my environment so motivation becomes unnecessary? That difference changes everything. Because when your environment supports your goals, discipline becomes lighter, focus becomes easier, progress becomes consistent, and consistency compounds faster than motivation ever could. So the real question isn't whether you're capable, it's whether your environment is helping you or quietly sabotaging you. Because if your surroundings reward comfort, you will drift toward comfort. If your surroundings reward growth, you will grow. The environment always wins in the long run, which means the most powerful decision you can make is choosing where you place yourself, what conversations you allow, what inputs you consume, what standards surround your life. Because once those shift, everything else begins to shift with them. Your habits, your identity, your trajectory. The dangerous part is this: most people never redesign their environment. They adapt to the one they inherited. And years later, they wonder why their life feels small. But a few people make a different decision. They change the room. They change the signals. They change the standards. And suddenly, their life begins moving in a completely different direction. Not because they became a different person, but because they stopped living in environments designed for the person they used to be. So take a moment and ask yourself something uncomfortable. Look at your surroundings. Look at your digital world. Look at the people around you. And ask one honest question: is this environment building the person you want to become, or quietly holding that person back? Because the answer to that question might explain more about your future than your goals ever will. And if this perspective changed the way you see your life, subscribe, because the next video might change the way you build it.